Fall Scholars. Really excited to be here back with you guys today for another math lesson. I want to thank all those of you who are at my Zoom lesson today, meeting this morning talking about quadrilaterals. Great to see you all there. Hope to see more of you on Thursday at 12. I also want to give a really special shout out to Christian. Christian's our first one working through Amplify on that new app I sent out in the description, and it's in the description below today. Doing that instead of slate math practice, in fact, fractions and fraction operations. He's doing a great job. I gave a challenge out to Jonathan and a few other people during our conversation today on Zoom. But if I can get 3 people mastering content on Amplify, I will post a video not about math, but a video of me attempting to play Fortnite. So embarrass myself for you guys in the name of learning. So hoping to see people pick that on Amplify instead of doing your slate math practice. Use those story problems to help grow your brain, and I'll make a fool of myself. So with that going on, and so if we're going to just Christian meeting that right now. In Khan Academy, we've got great progress this week so far from Malaysia, Jana, and Deasia, making the most progress on Khan Academy. And the current tally for votes on the hat that I'll wear on the first day back to school, I got 2 votes for or 1 vote for the cowboy hat and 1 vote for the pink cycling hat from my last video. So today I'm wearing a beret French style hat. So let me know which ones you want me to wear when we get back to school. This is lesson 6. It's also our first lesson. We have 6. This is lesson 7. This is lesson 7. It's also our first lesson, which will have some people coming from other classes. Other classes have been invited to join us as well. So if you're not from DePaul, welcome. We learned a lot today. Really excited to get started. So let's see what we're looking at. Lesson 7 in your review packet. For break, we've got a paper that looks like this, and it says, what would the 2 missing shapes in the hierarchy be? This is a really confusing task to have for a problem-solving session because nothing of this is labeled. What they're expecting you to know is this is a quadrilateral. Then we know there's 3 groups of quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are into kites, which have no parallel sides, parallelograms, which have 2 sets of parallel sides, and trapezoids, which only have 1 pair of parallel sides. This would make a lot more sense if we're in class every day, but since we haven't been checking in, it might be a little confusing. We learned about one group of parallelograms broken into. Parallelograms can be rectangles. They have all right angles. But parallelograms can also get more specific in another way, and that's this mystic shape here. And then those can get even more specific this way. What you'll notice is it's kind of weird because they're connected both from this one and rectangles. So this mystery shape and rectangles, if it's in both of those groups, the new groups, it's kind of group splits. That's really weird. It's one of the hierarchies can get really confusing. So right here we have our parallelogram, can be rectangles if they have right angles. That means this shape needs to have, you guessed it, right angles. So it needs to have something that has right angles because it's also got to be a rectangle. It's a more specific version of a rectangle. So think in your head of another shape you know of, like rectangles, that has a right angle. Think. Hopefully you thought of a square. So squares are our missing shape in this category. I'm going to add that right now. So a square is a type of parallelogram that has right angles, but it's more specific. That's the clue we need for this. So a square also has right angles. It also, you might know when you draw a square, has equal sides. That means this shape also has equal sides. So a parallelogram with equal sides, we call a rhombus. And fitting with my French hat, it's a weird word. It's the silent H. Rhombus, actually, is an H after the R. It's rhombus. To help you. Rhombus. Rhombus. A rhombus is a parallelogram with all equal sides. A square is a rhombus with right angles, just like a that makes that one category. It's the weirdest because it kind of fits in with 2 other categories in our hierarchy. So let's go through our definitions real quickly. The basic for the guided practice. Again, this kind of helps you with the problem solving. Go into the guided practice section we've got here. Our first word is rhombus. And so I said a rhombus is a parallelogram with equal length sides. We call it a regular parallelogram. So here's examples of one of rhombuses and non-examples. You can pause the screen if you need to get this written down. It's a parallelogram with all equal sides. So it has to be a parallelogram. It can't be a trapezoid. It can't be a rectangle that doesn't have equal sides. Like this rectangle has right angles, but it's not equal sides. It can't be a parallelogram. It doesn't have equal sides. And even though this triangle is equilateral, is equal sides, it's not a parallelogram because it doesn't have four sides. It's not a quadrilateral, so it can't be any of those. These are my attempts to draw different kinds of rhombuses. You'll notice some of those look like squares because a square is a more specific kind. So a square is a rhombus. Not all rhombuses are squares, as you can see. Sometimes they are if they have right angles, which takes us to our definition of squares. So a square is a parallelogram with equal sides and all right angles. So parallelogram with all equal sides and all right angles. So it actually has two what we say attributes or things that are like kind of physical characteristics. You can see it is a rectangle and a rhombus at the same time. Rhombuses have equal sides. Squares have equal sides. Rectangles have all right angles. Rhombuses have all right angles. So these examples here are not squares, and but they do have this one has right angles. This one has equal sides. Have both. You've got to have right angles and equal sides to be that square. The next confusing question from guided practice. Are all rhombuses squares? Are all squares rhombuses? Take a second, pause the video, and think about it before I tell you the answer on your own. A rhombus is a parallelogram with equal sides. Go back to our video, we see our examples, we can see a rhombus could look like this. Not perfect, but you can see basically equal sides, generally parallel on opposite sides. It's parallelogram, has equal sides. Is that a square? Hopefully you're thinking no, because it doesn't have right angles. This is the best of all the options. Try to draw a shape that is a rhombus, not a square, and see if you can. If you can, then that's not true. All rhombuses are not squares. Some of them are, because I could draw a rhombus, a parallelogram with four equal sides. It just happens to have some right angles in it. So some of them are, but this is asking are all rhombuses squares? And the answer is no. Next one says, are all squares rhombuses? So draw yourself a few, see if you can draw a square. It's not a rhombus. Draw a few squares here. Definition of a square is it has all equal sides and right angles. And if you actually think of that definition, you're going to find the answer that since a rhombus is a parallelogram with all equal sides, and a square has equal sides and right angles, all of these have to have equal sides, which means they are all rhombuses, just by the definition and by my drawings. They're wonky looking, but are all rhombuses. So there you have it. Squares, rhombuses. They are parallelograms, they're quadrilaterals. They both have equal sides, but only the squares are required to have right angles. If you put it together into our full hierarchy now, full hierarchy of polygons. This is something that when we get back to school, you definitely memorize for our geometry test. That once it's memorized, you can just write it down anytime you need to take a test or a quiz on it, and it'll be easy for you. We've added two here under parallelograms. Parallelograms is the busiest section of this. We've got rectangles and rhombuses down here. They're both parallelograms. Only the rhombuses have to have equal sides. Rectangles don't have to have equal sides. If they do, squares. So we can see our squares are all equal sides and right angles. Square is the most specific kind of polygon we're going to learn. You can see it has to fit through all of these levels on your way down. It has to be a quadrilateral, it has to be a parallelogram, I see a rectangle and a rhombus. Then you've got yourself a square. That's a lot of specific things, a lot of attributes that are of squares. So there you have it. Lesson 7 is done. You've only one lesson left to get totally caught up in your practice for this week. Again, hoping that you're done with your practice for this week. We're looking for the third week of school being canceled. So stay tuned for updates on that. Next lesson should be posted on Wednesday night, Thursday, and look forward to seeing you guys at Zoom meetings on Thursday at 12. Sign up for Amplify, do the challenge, get me to do a Fortnite video game, film it, put it on YouTube. Love to have that happen. As long as you're learning, growing your brain, it's all worth it. Have a great night and make the most of the time we have. Thank you.